Hi Aquarius, how's everybody doing? Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. You may have had an inkling that something was going to happen, and then you kind of see it happen before your eyes even. I'm getting one of those moments where it's like you're sitting in a situation and you kind of like have a vision of how something is gonna play out, and then you're pulled back into the present moment, and then you watch that exact thing happen before you. Interesting. I'm also hearing predictive astrology. Maybe something that you're getting into. So we're dealing with matters of the heart chakra here, starting off with the Three of Swords. I'm also looking at the Hierophant. Healing, transformation. I'm looking at Taurus, Scorpio, and you, Aquarius. Seems like there is healing that's being done through faith, belief system, community. Something that you're even resting in, putting your trust in. Seems like there's a big change that you're moving through, motivated by healing work that's being done right now. As we are addressing the heart space, it seems like it's going to make something much clearer to you on a very personal level, maybe even about your direction, where you are, where you want to be, where you're heading. And what you're walking away from. I feel like you're finally letting go of a situation that had been... I'm hearing rendering hopeless, but I don't like using the word hopeless. It's like maybe something that you had just been holding on to for so long, you finally are letting go of, because you know that it's not really doing you any good to hold on to it any longer. There's a sense of finally putting something to rest and clearing it out. It's like this can be like any type of like anger, trauma, disappointment, situations, anything that brings blockages to your heart chakra. There's a sense of you being like, that's not how I want to live my life. It's not what I want to hold on to. And there's a sense of like putting your faith and trust in something that may feel even greater than yourself, like bigger than you, just as an individual, like just as an ego. There's a sense of branching out from this. There's a sense of expansion. There's a sense of exploring. This could have been something that you resisted as well initially. It's like you could have had the opportunity to walk away from something and you were like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet, because it seems like it would have necessitated a lot of changes for you within your life, and maybe even lifestyle wise, and it could have been something that you weren't ready to go through up until this point. For some of you, I guess it depends on where you are in the timeline, but there's a sense of being like, you know what, if I want big changes for myself, I know that I'm going to need to change. Because when we go through changes and transformations, it's not our environment that changes, it's us that change on an individual level, which then affects our perspective, which then everything appears differently to us, but again, not because it's changing, it's because we are changing. Our perspective is expanding. We are moving beyond the ego space and getting behind that and seeing what's really going on. It feels like there's a big motion here to step up and take responsibility for things. This is also at a certain point in time, a change could have been offered or presented to you, and you could have shied away from it because you're like, you know what, that's a lot of responsibility for me to take on for myself if I'm going to go through with this. It's that feeling of knowing that you're being guided in a direction, but you're not actually going to do it until you feel ready to do that. And there's no shame in it. It's just how it is. So whether you're ready or you're not ready, it's just about recognizing this. It's just about the timing without any sort of judgment. But after you go through the transformation, it feels like you're ready to take something on now. It feels like it's related specifically to you, the gifts that you have, innate abilities, you exploring that, you following a direction, getting in touch with your dharmic path. Your dharma is like your nature and what's natural for you, what feels right to you when you drop all the layers of like who you're supposed to be and what's expected of you. It's like, who are you beneath all of that, and where does that leave you? Where does that mean you are? Where does that mean you're going? What does that mean you want to do now? For some of you too, this is a notion of being like, you know what, I really enjoy doing this, or I have a talent for this. And you may have like been aware of this, but there's a sense of like not being ready to take the risk to do that. And then all of a sudden, you may have recognized that something was really holding you back. This can be like fears or things from childhood. It's like my parent wasn't very encouraging to me when I wanted to explore this. And so it's kind of a dream even that I gave up on. And now there's a sense of, because you're clearing out the heart chakra, it's allowing you to release that and to reach for your goals and your dreams and the things that you want to pursue, the things that bring you like an actual full rounded sense of fulfillment. And because you're putting your faith in that, there's a sense of you actually discovering what you're looking for, because you're connecting with yourself ultimately and your path, and knowing that the changes you're going through are helping you to like remember yourself more so than anything. So it's not unnatural changes that you're going through. It's more like a shedding process to help you feel empowered and to help you feel like you can take things on because you're being true and authentic to yourself and your dreams and what you want to do. And there's a sense of feeling reinvigorated and feeling passionate about that because it's your calling, whatever that may be. Because it's not like one calling is better than the other. It's just like, what is your personal calling? Like, what are you tapping into? What do you want to explore? And now you have the opportunity to do so. Ooh, for some of you job-wise even, this can be career-related. For some of you, you may be looking back. In the top spread, I'm looking at Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. You may be looking back on things that you really enjoyed doing during your childhood, and you may be getting back in touch with those things, or it may be giving you clarity when it comes to a direction you want to be going in. It's kind of like going backwards in order to go forwards. Maybe you're like analyzing things. It's almost that sense of being like, before I was discouraged from doing things, or before I was like scared to pursue certain things, like what was I actually interested in, or before I was I'm hearing intimidated, before I was influenced by other people to go in this direction, like what was I actually interested in exploring and doing. I'm seeing like some type of review of your history is actually giving you clarity when it comes to a direction for yourself and an opportunity you want to take, and maybe something you want to be exploring. Seeing like on the career front. Something that feels natural to you. It feels almost fated for you to do this. It feels like you jumping into things passionately, the things that you care about, the things that you want to discover, without being held back by a doubtful self-talk space. That's what's going to help you. You may also be recognizing what that negative self-talk space looks like for you particularly, because each of us have like a different character in there, so there's a sense of getting to know yourself. But it feels like something that's not so much holding you back anymore. Seems like being led regarding the direction you're going in by your passions and the things that you feel excited about. And this doesn't necessarily mean something that you have to commit to. This can just be something you're exploring right now. Interest-wise, hobby-wise, something you're expanding upon. I'm looking at Jupiter being the focus here. Jupiter speaks about expansion and growing, exploring, learning. Yeah, I think there's an opportunity that you're going to want to be taking. I'm looking at the Ace of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, and the King of Swords here. You may also be combining different like aspects of your person into what this is that you're doing. Because I feel like you're getting more in touch with yourself and what you're feeling, and also exercising more mastery over that. I'm seeing another storyline that's popping up. I just want to get one more card. Yeah, I feel like something's changing about the ways that you're communicating and analyzing information, even like bringing things up consciously in a conversation between you and yourself based off of what you're feeling and what you're doing with that, if anything. Because it seems like there's more of an acceptance when it comes to like emotionally where you're standing with things, especially in relation to what's going on with what you're doing in the 3D, what your responsibilities are, what your roles are. Because you could have even been taking on, like, there could have been more of an agenda for you to, like, be in a certain role that maybe maybe it was something that like put food on the table, but it wasn't something that spoke to you in a creative or passionate way. And there's a sense of like wanting to have both of these things here, and maybe by taking a chance. It feels too like you could have tried to explore something at an earlier point in time, but the way that you did it was with a lack of consistency, and you may be bringing more of a sense of consistency. It's like because of your history and the skills that you've gained now, you may have more of what you needed in order to actually put this in place. And to kind of even assuage a sense of like self-doubt or these feelings that you get that like may hold you back from doing what you want to do, because I'm seeing more of a self-reflective space as well that's happening. And maybe you're also understanding how like because of actions performed in the past, how they affected the outcome of things, and also how you can like change an outcome now if you were to re-engage with something that you're interested in. Yeah, it feels very much like you're yearning to build something for yourself. I'm looking at the Eight of Wands, not the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Swords here with the Emperor. Maybe you're wondering if you can actually do this. Like, can I be consistent enough to do this? Do I have the skills that are needed? Like, am I action oriented enough to get this done? There could also be someone that you're reaching out to for guidance in exploring this. I'm seeing it be related to something that you want to build and something that you're ready to put a lot of effort into, something that you're very serious about, but you may be like doubting yourself a little bit. I'm hearing manpower. But it seems like this is something more so self-imposed than actuality. I think that it has to do with your perception of yourself and what you can do. So this is also something that maybe you're gaining awareness of as well. Like, and maybe you're asking yourself big questions too. Like if the possibility of failing weren't there, what would I be pursuing? Like, what actually calls to me? If there was a guarantee that I'd be successful with this, like, what would I be pursuing? What would I be expanding upon? What am I trying to build for myself? I feel like you making plans and setting boundaries with yourself kind of there's a sense of like the more disciplined you can be with this, the more clear things are going to be for you. The more organized you can be, the more you're planning and like laying things out, the easier this is going to be for you to pursue, because it kind of cuts down on any sense of like confusion or there being too many possibilities, all of that. It's kind of giving you a more clear plan or direction even. There may be a concern with your stability or your home even, and maybe how this would affect that. But it's something that it's going to take time to build. There's a sense of needing to stick through something. Sometimes when we pursue something, Because, like, today in society, we can be so accustomed to instant gratification. And so there's a sense of, like, if something doesn't instantly happen, you have to still keep working through that, because there's a sense of, like, planting the seeds for what it is that you want to pursue, and needing to lay the groundwork in order to do that. Because I'm seeing something that's going to end up paying off and meeting the goals that you have, but there's a sense of, like, having to water the plant and nurture the plant and tend to the plant in order to bring it to fruition, to reap the benefits of that. And you being strategic and consistent is what's going to help you. You planning as much as possible is going to help you. And also being okay when you can't plan something. So it's just adapting to situations, doing what you can. For some of you, you may even be bringing someone or others into what it is that you're doing. Maybe at times, too, you question yourself and it's like, can I be in charge of all of this? Because you know that it's going to take a lot of responsibility, but it seems like you can be. It's just about, like, you actually believing that for yourself, and knowing, too, that you have the faculties needed when you kind of hit a bump in the road to be able to problem solve. Because I'm seeing such an intelligent energy here, but also when we have so many thoughts going on, sometimes we can, like, talk ourselves out of things or question ourselves because we see so many different variables. Like, this is very clear air energy when we experience that. It's like having all these thoughts in your head and questioning all of these things and trying to figure it out. So maybe grounding would also be something that you'd find to be beneficial. And also, not like, sometimes when we future think or past think, it, like, brings up a lot of anxiety. So there's a sense of, like, dealing with things as they come in the present moment. So unless something is happening currently, don't worry about it. And then when it comes time to actually face something, that's when you're taking care of it, so as not to get too far ahead of yourself. Because sometimes, too, when we, like, try to plan things out in a way where we get too far ahead of ourselves, we, like, completely talk ourselves out of something, but, like, we don't even initiate it in the first place because you're already talking yourself down from something you want to be pursuing. So this is also about keeping that in mind, too. Because I think air signs in general, because of all of the thoughts, there's definitely, like, a tendency to experience anxiety, like, fueled by your own thoughts, because there are so many thoughts going on. So again, something to be mindful of, to kind of try to master that for yourself and know that you can problem solve when the time comes. That you have to be patient with what you're building. Consistency is needed. It also seems like there's a building that's going to happen when it comes to, like, you and someone else building together too. Like, you may have your eye on something or someone, or even, like, something that you hope to have. It seems like you may be on the lookout for something, maybe involving another person. And this can be, like, you're looking for a partner in your business venture, or you're looking for a partner within your personal life even. And either way, it's something where you want to be valued, or you want somebody that's going to work properly with you. Yeah, it really feels like the only thing that's holding you back is a sense of fear, but I'm seeing this be managed. Or like, is this going to pay off for me? Is this going to be worth it to me? But yeah, there's a sense of like, don't judge things initially. You have to give them time to unfold and to not like sabotage the plans that you have and what you want to pursue. And for some of you, this even has to do with like making some sort of proposal or offer even to someone else. And there's a sense of like needing to believe in yourself and how things are going to unfold. This may also be something that comes to fruition later on down the line. It seems too like at times when you feel maybe you're getting a little bit burnt out, to give yourself the time that you need to kind of recuperate. Because you may find that like when you're getting burnt out, everything becomes like overwhelming and confusing, and it makes it a lot more difficult for you to like manage everything that you're experiencing. So there's a sense of like needing to pay attention to like what your body is telling you, like what's going on in your head. Do you need time to sit down and take a break? Do you need to rest? Do you need to sleep? Do you need to eat? Things like this. Like getting outside and taking a walk and clearing your head. Yeah, I'm talking about overwhelm. I'm looking at the 10 of Wands popping out. Sometimes too, there's a sense of like if you're working with too many energies, that at times, like being too much energy to be working with, and you have to kind of pull it back to your own energy. And also at times when you feel like you're taking on too much in singularity, I'm hearing, there's a sense of like maybe bringing a team of people together to help out with this quest that you're on. Maybe like developing some sort of like community or different type of support system even, or people that are along for the ride with a similar vision as you, and going about like looking out for that. I'm looking at Aries and Sagittarius here. It seems too like you may experience somebody coming through on the journey, and you may be kind of suspicious, but this could be coming from a place of your past history and not what's actually going on. So this is also something to be aware of too. It's like if you're feeling suspicious about something, to check and try to find the source. Like, is that actually coming from what you're picking up from somebody else, or is this based off of a past experience that still needs to be dealt with and cleared out? So it's not affecting things where there isn't actually a problem, and you may be projecting one onto the space with someone. Maybe just a side note. Okay, we're going to end it here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.